Welcome. This is the Drupal usability meeting for January 16th, 2026. I'm Benji Fisher, sharing my screen and moderating. And also present are Ralph Kohler, Alavi Singh, and Simo Helston. Thank you all for coming. So we've decided today to look at issue 3262935, link field validation constraints don't give enough detail. So let me see. I haven't looked at this in a long time. Um, does not give explicit steps to reproduce. Um, but I guess we could at least look at a field, a link field to some content type and and see if we can trigger some of these errors. So let me share in the Zoom Slack. There's a ngrok version of my local site with Umami installed. So feel free to log in there and make changes.
Oh, no, I remember.
As usual, the Zoom windows are getting in my way. But structure, content types, whoops, basic page. And again, the Zoom windows are in my way. Give me a second. There we go. Manage fields for basic page. And let us add a link field. Make it unlimited so we can have more than one link. Keep the rest of the defaults. Good. To make a new basic page. So let's say I put in something like www.google.com without starting with HTTPS and try to save the page. Do I get, oh, that's odd.
Oh, maybe because you've added it to the title? Could that be the reason?
I don't think that's what this error message is saying. This isn't coming from Google. This is coming from ngrok.
Yeah, you had pasted the basically the link to the ngrok at the start of the title, and maybe that got into the path somehow.
Good.
Oh,
Even if I go back to a page, this is HTTPS. I go back to a page that was working and I reload. Can you access my ngrok site?
1 second.
I can. I
Me
didn't try
too.
to log in, but
Yep. I'm able to. Well,
Well, I will simply Drupal.edu. Simply log into my local site, so I will bypass ngrok. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my Zoom windows again. Now where is my, here's my admin toolbar. Well, I suppose I might as well just go to node add page. My local site does seem to be very slow. I wonder if that has something to do with the ngrok problem. Oh. Isn't this what I did not intend to paste that in, but the browser remembers that I did, so you must be right, Ralph. Okay, and I believe this is the validation message we currently get. Enter a content titled selected or enter an internal path starting with slash, question mark, or octothorpe, pound sign, number sign, whatever you want to call it. External links must be a full URL, including the protocol, such as https://example.com. Okay, so I've triggered the validation error. So that at least gives us some context for what the issue is about. And if I fix the validation error, I should be able to save the page. Oh, but this is umami, and you can't see it on the front end until I adjust the layout builder preferences, which maybe is not worth doing right now. So Ralph, you said you were beginning to remember some of the.
I vaguely remember at least that we discussed it. But one question, do you have the merge request checked out as well? Or
Not yet.
but could you on that install or
Yeah, I probably could.
okay. Now otherwise I could share and provide another ngrok link.
Just give me a minute while I
No
go
rush,
back
no
to
rush,
my
no
terminal
rush.
window, which you can't see. Oops. Checked out the branch. There seems to be up to date as of a week ago. So that's probably good enough. And let's try again. Adding an invalid URL. This time we'll put in Drupal.org, but again, forget to give the protocol. So now the error message has changed to manually entered paths should start with one of the following characters, / question mark or pound octacorn number sign. Ha ha. Is that an improvement?
What is a manually entered path?
Um, Good question. So let me zoom in a little bit so you can more easily read the help text. There we go. So start typing the title of a piece of content selected. So this is potentially an autocomplete field. So that would not be manual. You can also enter an internal path, such as /node/add, or an external URL. So a manually entered path is something that's not done by autocomplete.
Uh,
Such as you type in carrot, you can get let's hear it for carrots.
and that's not a path.
Say again?
But that's not a path.
Right?
So saying internal path, it would have two words to trying to locate in the like two reference words because we don't have anything about manually added, even if it's added by, let's say, an Ajax. You click on something on the form and it uses Ajax to fill in a path there. So it's not manually added, but added by Ajax, and still it needs to be start with that / and so on. If it's just the actually the path. So I think I would say either I could use internal path or just path. So manual is something extra.
So you think the word manual is confusing because it doesn't appear in that help text. So maybe it should be internal paths
Yeah.
or internal paths entered without the help of autocomplete, which is getting awfully long. Ralph,
Mhm.
go ahead.
Um, First, one question. Could you please resubmit the form with two potential failures in? Just wanted to see the outputs. Or is it oh, it's just a single. Okay, then never mind. But then the other point, if you go back to the issue, please, and go to comment number 5. Basically, the output we saw so far are all those validation error messages listed in here. And then I wonder if the recommendations we made back then in comment number, where is it? 43. There we went basically with the path URL is external, but the link field only supports internal paths, and the path URL is external and internal. And that would basically, yeah, deal with a CMOS worry in regards of the use of the word manual. And so, and I also wonder, have those changes be added?
Probably, but these messages wouldn't be appropriate here. Let me go back to the normal magnification and then go back to the configuration of that field. Again, I'm fighting with the Zoom windows. Here we accepted the defaults, which means that we allow both external and internal links. And I think the two error messages you were looking at would only apply if we had configured it for one of the other options. If you want, I can test that.
Yes, please.
Okay, so let's try to get this first message. The path is external, but the link field only supports internal paths. So if I configure it only to allow internal links, and let's see, this one, which previously did not generate any error messages, is an external field, so that should generate some sort of validation error. Not sure whether I can just submit again or whether I should reload the page first, but let's see. So I still get the error about manually entered paths, and it's flagging this field. So let's clear out that field. I still want to see the error from this first one. The path, blah, 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 is external, but the test link field only supports internal paths. And I think that's basically this message, except instead of saying link field, it gave the name of the field.
Okay.
Mm. Maybe I'm too technical, but for me it's confusing to have a URL called a path because it doesn't include any path.
Oh, so you're thinking that the label of the field should be changed?
In the message, it says like because you can't have external paths. For external, you must have URLs, but it doesn't maybe. So it's like HTTP www.google.com is not an internal path. It's not an external path either because it's not a path actually. So it's kind of a. I think is having that there URL. If it's external, then it should be URL.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Mm.
So that would be an easy change to make. So instead of the path, say URL.
Then I wonder if that adds to the number of different kinds of. Well, if it's external, it's not. It's URL, not a path, or then it's invalid.
Right? So I'd still like to get back to the first error message we were looking at. Now, when only internal paths are allowed, which is the current configuration, um, this error message makes sense. Um, there's room for improvement, and Ralph points out that manually entered is perhaps not clear.
But another point, if we've changed now in the other string and explicitly addressed the URL, and now we're writing again path here because it's a URL in this case, isn't it?
Well, that's sort of the point. But let me go back to the default configuration of the field where internal and external links are both allowed. Right? I think we saw before that we got exactly the same error message when we tried to submit this form. Let me get rid of the browser tools. So, so here there are two ways I could fix this. Maybe I have a page where the path is www.google.com. It's not very common, but it's a possibility. And the way to fix it is to put a slash in front. Or maybe I'm thinking of the external link, and the way to fix this is to add a protocol. Um, and we don't know what the right fix is, and the error message only considers one of the two possibilities that we should fix it by putting a slash in front.
But as a naive novice user, when I'm reading that, I would think, and I'm following the instructions there, I would think my first try would be first add a slash at the beginning of that www.google.com. Then if that doesn't work and still fails, I would put the question mark, and then I would try the other one, the three options.
Right. And as a naive user, you wouldn't think that the right fix is to put the protocol in front.
Yep.
And I think that's so I think that that's a serious problem with this error message.
Yeah, and the context also matters from my perspective. I mean, on the field settings, if you have chosen, if you accept both internal, external, or one of each only.
Right.
Because I guess if you consider, if you, for example, let's say in the current context, we are accept only external links. And that way, the way more, that way you can be explicit. You can simply instead of path, write URL. And second, instead of characters at the end, you simply say at the HTTP or HTTPS.
Let's
Oh,
see what
oh,
happens when it's configured to allow only external links. Ooh, we got the same error message.
yeah.
That's So I think we can start off with a pretty firm recommendation, unless someone thinks otherwise, a firm recommendation that the error message should depend on the configuration.
Yeah.
That I guess if one of the first two options is selected, it should probably say that the field is configured for internal links or external links only. And then say internal links have to start with one of these three characters, external links have to start with the protocol. With the default, when both internal and external are allowed, it should have a different message. And oops. And say either you should be starting with one of these three characters, or you should be starting with the protocol. So do we have consensus on that?
On the last point, I'm unsure. In chat for the either or case you've outlined before, I agree. But for the last one, wouldn't it still be possible to distinguish what the person has entered? Meaning the string that is in place on submit looks more like an external link or looks more like an internal. Is it possible to distinguish what is more likely?
Let's see, what do I currently have? I'm only allowing external links, so let me make this. And then let me give it a URL alias of www.drupal.org. So that should save. And alias. Okay, so start with this third error message. So we only support external paths. Path. Perhaps that could be links. I'm surprised that this one generates an error
You have a double
because,
P.
oh, HTTPS instead of HTTPS. Okay, thank you. So that should fix that. And then we get a separate message for this one. I'm glad you do get different messages. In fact, that one seems to be triggering both the first and the third line, the error message.
That example answers my question from before, where I intended to see if it's possible to see several. But now, as you've said, is it possible that just one remaining?
So maybe it's this empty one that's causing the problem. Interesting.
Oh, is it basically the URL alias in the right?
Oh, thank you. This. Ah, Obviously, I'm not firing on all cylinders today. I apologize.
No worries.
There we go. So now I have a page, and if you look at my address bar, um, it is www.drupal.org. Um, I try to create a new page. Then I could very well link to slash www.drupal.org because that's a page on my site. Um, but if I were to forget the slash, who's to say whether that's an internal path and I should add a slash or whether it's an external URL and I should add the protocol. Now, at the moment, the text field is configured only to allow external links, but if I were to change that, there would be no way to say that one is correct and the other isn't. So you could use heuristics, if it's a string of letters with dots and maybe it ends with has some slash and other stuff at the end. Or you could look it up in all path aliases, see whether it's a valid alias. But even if it is a valid alias, maybe that's not what I want. Maybe what I really want is Drupal.org, external site. So even though both are valid, um, really the system has no way of knowing which one I intend. So I feel pretty strongly. Oh, I guess this time I really do have to. So there is validation before you submit the page,
Yeah, that's the
form
HTML5.
validation, right? So previously I had it configured to only external links. And I think that validation was still in place, that HTML5 validation. Um,
Yeah, it makes sense. So basically, if we look again at comment number 5, so this means instead of a single validation error 2, you have validation error 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3, basically for the 3 different cases.
the validation error 2 is the one I seem to be getting.
And
And
there are
yes,
3
it
variants.
yes, 3 variants depending on which of the configuration options is chosen.
Yeah. Would the same necessary for any of the other errors?
Um, can't answer without checking. Shall we look at one of them?
Yeah. This is invalid.
So I guess validation error 3. So www.drupal.org is a valid path local path on the site. Would work if I put a slash in front, but I were to try to go to google.com with some search term, which again could be a valid path if I just prefixed it with a slash. In fact, let me do that. If I make it look like an internal path, then I probably get that error message. No, I didn't get that error message. That is peculiar. So I wonder, how do you get the validation error 3?
Validation
Or I guess
error.
maybe I was aiming for validation error 4.
Well, if you take a look in the diff for the merge request, at the bottom you have the link field test, and there are the assertions for testing. Yeah.
Want me to look at this test?
Yeah. And if you scroll a little bit down, you see there.
Here's validation error 4. But then when does that get triggered? Again, my Zoom windows are getting in the way. So invalid internal entries is this array with 3 elements.
uh, and error message 7 and 8 are the ones we've suggested in the last review. And there you also see the field name field, the pattern behind it. Okay.
All right, we have just about 10 minutes left. So I think we should not try to fix all problems. And we probably shouldn't be digging into the code in a usability meeting. But suggesting some changes. And the main change that I want to suggest or recommend is that when it is in not valid as a path and it's not valid as a URL, the error message should allow for both possibilities. That's what I care most about. I think perhaps we should also um, use paths only when we're talking about internal paths and URL when we're talking about external URLs, or possibly always talk about links.
But,
Sorry, I'm combining two suggestions, but go ahead.
but if you generalize and simply say link, then it's harder to understand the user understanding and comprehending what the error message says and in which context they currently are. Meaning, if you just say manually entered link, then you don't know exactly, am I in the right context? Meaning, am I external or internal, or is it both? So I think that matters.
External URL is a link, and it shouldn't start with any of the characters listed here. Internal path is a link, or will generate a link, and it should start with this. So it would be a bit confusing to always use the same. So I think dividing between URLs and paths would be good option.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I was thinking of being consistent with this configuration page and talking about internal links and external links. But of course, these two pages are for two different sorts of users. So
Yeah.
probably that wasn't a good idea on my part. We don't need that consistency.
But then if we say internal link and external link, then I think it's fine. Internal and external. So just to remember to have the whole definition there, because internal links, external links are URLs. Internal links are basically paths.
Yes.
So that we can do.
Okay, so let's see, do we have consensus there? Should we change the error messages to refer to paths and URLs? Or should we call them internal links and external links? Simo, do you actually prefer internal link and external link?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to use the word road because it's too technical.
Okay. Ralph, Pallavi, opinions? Pallavi, you are muted, but I am keeping an eye on the Zoom chat.
I don't have a strong opinion either way. I only want that it's clearly distinguished between internal and external. If it's internal, external link, or if it's an URL or path. And yeah, the only bonus in regards of internal link and external link, it would be sort of, yeah, it would be consistent with the field settings. So that would be a plus.
Right. And for
But
for for small sites where one person is both the owner and the content editor, then the consistency between the two would be helpful. Go ahead.
that for one, but on the other hand, if you have larger sites with less technical content editors that who don't face basically the field settings, for them, internal and external links might be slightly more abstract compared to using URL that rings easier a bell and a path. But yeah.
And I guess the other thing to be consistent with is um, the label text here, URL and link text. Um,
Hmm. Good point.
And perhaps this label could be changed to be URL or path, which might
So,
be arguably out of scope for the current issue, but
depending on the field setting, you change the label. It should be either URL or path or both, in case you have the combined option.
right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to say URL or path when only external links are allowed. Currently, it says URL even when only internal paths are allowed, which I think is confusing.
Agreed. And it's also problematic if you consider if you have, let's say, 2 or 3 different link fields on the same page, and each has a different context, meaning one is for internal links, other is for external links. And that way it's even more confusing then.
So I don't hear a strong consensus on whether to use internal link, external link, or whether to use path and URL. So I think we should just say that the suggestion is to do something,
Yeah.
one of those options, or possibly a third option that someone else thinks of. Um, so then the second point, the one I care about more, is that the error message should depend on the configuration, and that when both internal and external links are allowed, um, we should not just get the error message telling us how to make it a valid internal link. We should also get the error message, or the error message should include the information of how to make it a valid external link, external URL. So I feel strongly about that, but do other people agree?
Yep, agreed.
Okay, Simo, Pallavi? Get a thumbs up from Simo. Okay, we have 1 minute left. So I think I'm willing to make the comment on the issue unless someone else wants to. And I will not be at the next 2 meetings. That'll take us through the end of January. The Zoom link should work normally. You don't need me to be on the meeting if you want to join. And I hope to see you all in February or later. And oh, by the way, day late, but happy birthday, Drupal. It's 25 years old.
Of course they have. Were you, have you, has any one of you been to a party?
I did not go.
No, I haven't been.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh well.
Okay, doke. Then, yeah, have a relaxed weekend, everyone.
Yes. Or with Benji until February.
Yeah.
And I think,
Yep.
yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Till February.